Now on WISN 12 News.
Disaster on the Texas Gulf Coast. Thousands of people scrambling to escape catastrophic flooding from Tropical Storm Harvey.
We had to bust a window to get out.
Rescue crews swamped. Neighbors helping each other get to safety. And an NFL player from Pewaukee is using his star power to help the recovery effort.
I want to start a fundraiser because I know that these recovery efforts are going to be massive.
Let's start here with a live picture from a rainy and closed George Bush Airport in Houston. Some areas could get 25 more inches of rain by Friday, if you can believe that. That's on top of what is already there. 18 Texas counties, 7 million people now under a federal disaster declaration. Many have nowhere to go. And this may be one of the most shocking and even frustrating images from the flooding. Nursing home residents in Dickinson, Texas. Look at this. They're sitting in water up to their laps, waiting for help. Crews eventually airlifted them to safety. Getting around Houston is next to impossible. These are pictures of Interstates 10 and 45. You see here, they're underwater. All of Houston's freeways are flooded tonight. Boats, really the only way to get around. First responders are asking anyone with a boat to help rescue people from flooded homes and cars. And as ABC's Lana Zach shows us, that rescue effort is going on right now.
Rescues continue in the dark of night here in Houston.
We got you. We got you. Don't worry.
Bisected by roads that are now rivers, America's fourth largest city is in crisis.
We need help in Fifth Ward. We need people here to evacuate people. Get people here now before they die.
The 911 system overrun, 56,000 calls in just 15 hours. Many people say they can't even get through. Houston's mayor is asking for patience.
This is pretty much like day 2. Okay, there will be day 3, and there will be day 4, and there may be day 5.
First responders and Good Samaritans are working around the clock, desperately trying to keep up with all the cries for help. And those that are rescued are often left with nothing.
It's like memories that get taken away by something that you don't expect. But I mean, it's all just materialistic stuff.
Louise has no dry clothes, no shoes on her feet. She was grateful to be plucked from the waters, but then, like so many others we heard from, she says she was left stranded without a place to go.
They said there would be buses. No buses ever came.
So you were just sitting there.
We were just sitting there in the rain, just waiting for somebody to take us. And
that's when Peter came around.
That's when Peter came to rescue us.
And Peter, you're just a Good Samaritan.
I've been cooped up at my home for the past 2 days, watching you guys. And I just said, you know what, I'm able-bodied. I might as well go ask someone if there's anything I can do, so I drove down there.
He is our hero.
More than 600 billion gallons of water has now been dumped onto Houston. And concerned about the possibility of dam breakage, officials now are planning to release water from 2 reservoirs, a move that will impact thousands of homes. Reporting from Houston, Lana Zach, ABC News.
Those without a boat are using what they can to help rescue their neighbors. When people spotted this man clinging to a pole and another trapped in his car, they used an ice machine as a flotation device, reaching the victims and even putting themselves at risk.
The currents were pulling us back, and we jumped on an ice machine and floated to him and got off and tried to help him, but we noticed the current was too strong, so we all held hands and held onto a pole, and we found another guy threw a rope, and we pulled each other with a rope across.
President Donald Trump plans to visit the flood zone on Tuesday. We have a picture here of the president today at Camp David holding a teleconference on the disaster with other officials at the White House. Help from Wisconsin is now on its way to the disaster zone. 12 News' Terry Saders in the newsroom with that part of our local coverage. Terry?
And Adrian, this is video of the Coast Guard at work in the flood zone. They rescued 18 people yesterday alone. Now Wisconsin Coast Guard members are on their way to help.
Milwaukee's Coast Guard station sent a rescue helicopter and crew of 4, very similar to this one, to help in Houston.
As you can imagine, this is an all-hands-on-deck evolution for the Coast Guard.
Lieutenant Commander Brian Swinetek is in charge of search and rescue operations for the Coast Guard in Milwaukee. The Milwaukee Coast Guard headquarters also sent an airboat and crew of 4 to help with rescuing flood victims in Houston.
One of our senior leaders here from Lake Michigan to oversee the response of the airboats, as they are uniquely qualified and have the skills to oversee that difficult search and rescue mission.
SwineTech knows firsthand what Coast Guard rescuers are facing after responding to Hurricane Sandy and the Deepwater Horizon crisis.
Obviously, when you're going out and providing assistance, you're helping someone's mom, dad, wife, husband, children. Generally, in these types of situations, what makes it so difficult is you're responding in a water environment that's not meant to be a water environment. So that's why having the airboats are such a unique and important asset.
And it's expected at least 15 Coast Guard members from here will be sent to Houston. They'll also help respond to pollution hazards, which can make the rescue operation even more hazardous. Adrian?
Doing some really important work there. Thank you, Terry. And we just got some new information from the Red Cross as well. 47 people from Wisconsin will be helping in Texas. Some of them are already there. We met Tom Poe at the airport before he left Milwaukee. He's volunteered on missions like this about 24 times.
All the devastation they go through, when you're in the nitty-gritty of things, when you're right in the middle of it, you really see the devastation.
Red Cross volunteers agree to stay in Texas for 2 weeks. If you'd like to help those affected by Harvey right now, you can call 1-800-RED-CROSS. Starting Tuesday morning, WISN 12 News will be doing what we can. We're opening a phone bank to take local donations for the flood victims. We will bring you more details on that tomorrow. Houston Texans football player and Pewaukee native J.J. Watt is putting out a personal plea to help those flood victims.
If you can donate something small, if you can donate something big, whatever you can donate, please donate to help these people out. Houston's a great city. We're going to come out of this stronger than ever, but we're going to need a lot of money to help these people rebuild.
Watt put a link to a fund on his Twitter page, donating $100,000 of his own money to get it started. Other donors have now nearly doubled that. Watt talked with CNN tonight.
My girlfriend's back there. She's back there. She's staying with her sister and their 2 kids, so obviously very concerned about her. And then all my teammates, they have their wives back there. They have their kids back there. So that's what really, kind of hits you in the heart.
Definitely a personal story there. Meteorologist Lindsay Slater is tracking this all for us. Tropical Storm Harvey. Lindsay, the sad thing is that it just keeps coming, that rain still falling.
Absolutely, and that was always the part that we were always very worried about, was that this track was really just going to sit over the same areas over time, and it really hasn't moved very much since the last time we talked. And as you can see, here's the latest updates on how much rain has fallen in some areas. Well over 20 inches in most of these areas. You see these pinks? That is all the 20-inch mark. Some of the areas are going to see well over 50 inches of rain by the time this whole thing is all said and done with. So right now the winds are still about 40 miles an hour. It's moving its way back out into the Gulf, and as we move along through time, by Monday morning it's going to be hugging the coast right there. Still a tropical storm. And the bad thing about it is that it hasn't moved very much. So we're still talking those rain bands going right into Houston over and over again. Eventually that will shift its way to the east. So that heaviest band is going to move its way a little bit closer, a little bit further, a little bit to the east. And then as we get to Tuesday, Wednesday, finally it does start to move up. But Adrian, this is going to be, as we've talked about before, an unprecedented storm of catastrophic. It's going to be something we're going to be talking about here for years to come.
Tough to even comprehend that rainfall. Thank you, Lindsay. You can track Harvey and get the latest on the flooding and hurricane damage there by going to WISN.com and the 12 News app. We'll bring you more images from the disaster zone all throughout this hour. New tonight, investigators are working to identify a body that was in Lake Michigan. Someone called and reported it south of Meyer Park near Gateway Technical College around 2 this afternoon. The Racine County Sheriff's Office is still trying to figure out who the person is. They tell us he's a white man, approximately 250 pounds and 6'1" with brown hair. He has multiple tattoos on his arms and chest. A 12-year-old boy is in the hospital after someone shot him. Police believe he's going to survive. It happened just before 3 this afternoon near 9th and Orchard. That's on the city's south side. Police say someone fired shots out of a car and hit the boy. Investigators are still looking for that shooter. daycare owner who police say is responsible for the death of a 7-week-old girl. 12 News had the only camera in court today. Claudette Mitchell is charged with first-degree reckless homicide. Police say the baby, Savea Reed, died from blunt force trauma injuries. There's her picture. Officers also arrested a 17-year-old girl. One person is dead and 2 others are in jail after a carjacking and crash in Milwaukee. Police tell us officers tried to stop the stolen car, but the driver fled and eventually crashed into a light pole. That's the aftermath. It happened near 33rd and Locust around 2 this morning. A 25-year-old woman in the stolen car died. Police arrested 2 24-year-old men. A Brewers minor league player is in critical condition after a pitch hit him. The team says infielder Julio Mendez suffered what they're calling a cardiac event after getting hit during last night's Rookie League game in Arizona. Mendez is 20 years old from Venezuela. He's been with the Brewers organization since 2014. General Manager David Stearns released a statement. It's here on your screen. All of our thoughts and prayers are with Julio and his family. He added, "We will provide updates as soon as we know more." Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clark has a new book, and today the president promoted it. We'll tell you what the sheriff is saying about the boost. Plus, the grocery store that's planning to lower prices starting tomorrow.
And we still have a couple of rain showers rolling through right now, but another threat for your Monday morning commute. I'll talk about that ahead.
And we have another image here from Tropical Storm Harvey. Helicopters rescuing people stranded on those flooded highways in Houston tonight. We'll have much more coverage from the disaster zone just ahead.